NHL Nightly with your host, the sportsman, a.k.a. Pierre Lebowski, a.k.a. Jeremiah Maxwell. And with him, as always, maybe Pearlo, Wisdom, and Rico in Barry.
Hey, everybody, what's up? Welcome to the show. I am the Sports Beard, a.k.a. Jeremiah Maxwell. With me, as always, Pearlo, Wisdom, and Rico and Barry. They're not here yet. We'll see what's happening. But tonight we got a special guest from the Big Bad Bees pod, Jake Reiser. Let's get Jake in here. Jake,
Hello.
How you doing?
Doing good. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good, man. Probably would be in a little better mood if your Bruins didn't lay an egg against the Calgary Flames. Don't worry, nobody on this show had that. I was just going through all our bets yesterday and tweeting out stuff, and Pearlo's take was Calgary's given up. What do you think they're going to do? And they're going to win 4-1, and Boston was not on the bingo card. Now, for the listeners, are you in the Massachusetts area? So,
yes, I live in Boston.
Oh, okay. You live in the city. All right. Okay. So just to give you a little background, my family's actually from my mom's side of the family is actually from Massachusetts. I threw up the Bees jersey and the Flames up there for you. Springfield, though, and I lived there when I was a kid, real young. But I'm in Alaska. I'm in Anchorage, and Rico's in Barrie, obviously. Rico and Barrie, Ontario, which is not far from your neck of the woods. At least it's on the East Coast. And then our main man Pearlo, if he shows up, he'll be in Edmonton. So
hey, you at least live in the hometown of our favorite starting goaltender right now.
Oh yeah, Jeremy Swayman, baby. Yeah, we got definitely giving the Bruins. I always, just because I have family from there, I always have a special affinity for the Bruins. Definitely no issues there. Instagram's not working tonight, folks. So if you're trying to watch on Insta, I apologize. I don't know what the deal is there. Anyway, you can watch our show live on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, aka X, or Instagram. Obviously not tonight. That's not happening. Let's just real quick. I'll flash up the scores. I wanted to go through, and then we'll talk a little Bruins hockey and stuff. Interesting night of hockey. Couple surprises for me. I mean, definitely your game, the 4-1 win. Kuzmenko gets a goal. That was a thing we had talked about. Rico, did you have a goal scoring prop on Kuzmenko?
I took Kuzmenko and I took Lindholm. They both
nice. And Lindholm had potted too. And we all were on. I was on the Canucks huge as a plus money road dog, and they did not disappoint. I just thought the Lindholm bust was going to be a big thing. So we talk a little gambling at the end of the show here, Jake, but we'll definitely talk specifics. 2-1. I didn't watch 1 second of the Stars Sabres game. I feel bad. I had 4 games on. I was watching. I really didn't watch the Flyers. Nice win for the Flyers, man. 2-1 win against Florida. They had been not looking good since the Carter Hart thing. So, and I just felt like that was affecting them. I really appreciate everybody being in the chat, by the way. Tim, Darkness, Daniel Barry, Sports Highlights. Really glad we open our doors to Jake here. And we'll talk about your pod and the Boston Bees and, the legend that is Anchorage, Alaska's own Jeremy Swayman, NHL All-Star. The Jets, that Brendan Dillon hit was an absolute garbage call. It was not a major. He should not get suspended. Pittsburgh potted 2 goals, and that changed the game for me. And then the Scheifele goal got waved off anyway. We called the Caps getting destroyed by the Habs. But Ovi had a goal, and I said Ovi likes to score. We didn't put it in our officials. And right now, 3 minutes left to go. The Avalanche are battle back, and it's 3-3 with 2:53 left in the third. New Jersey was sitting on that 3-1 lead, man. They just needed that 4th goal. And Colorado, is Nate Dogg about to score? Oh, my God. Nate McKinnon just on a breakaway. By the way, as much shit as we give Vitek Vanacek, he has played unbelievable in this game. Colorado should be winning this game. And we're waiting for the Golden Knights to end the Oilers streak, or the Oilers extend their streak. We shall see. So those are the games for the day. So Jake, let's talk about your bees.
It's a fun year.
Bees podcast. I mean, tonight's a bad night, but they've been looking unbelievable.
You know, tonight's game just felt like that Reddit meme I've seen every so often. It's just a guy poking the Bruins logo with the stick, and it says, "Come on, do something." It just really felt like they didn't realize the break ended today. It was a rough one, but I think it's been just so fun all season. It's almost been better than last year. The accolades last year were really fun, but I feel like there was so much weight knowing that Bergeron and Krejci, you never knew if it was going to be there last year. And now that we kind of, not to say it's great that we shed them because they're legends and we will love them and always miss them, but to shed the pressure of having that, kind of expectation on you, I don't know. It just makes the success feel a lot funner that there's just that much less pressure on us to win. If we slide, we can say, okay, well, we didn't really do well at the deadline, or we didn't do well in the preseason and the offseason signing guys. There's growing pains. There's still guys figuring out their roles. There's leadership guys who need to figure it out.
Speaking of which, real quick, not to interrupt you, but I did hear that the Boston Bruins, through my sources, were in on Lindholm, but they were not going to trade for him if he didn't sign an extension.
I think it's absolutely the right thing to do. If you look at what the Bruins have as far as capital goes, I don't think they should honestly do much this deadline. If so, for not a lot. They don't have their 2024 first-round pick. I think they should keep their 2025 first-round pick at all costs, just kind of knowing the trajectory of this team, knowing that Marchand has, some years on him, and maybe he's only got a couple more left. So you want to start building another core sooner rather than later. Mm-hmm. I just don't see, not that I don't love this team and think that they could go really far. I think they can. I just don't think it's worth the amount of capital. A friend of mine said, hey, if the Bruins were going to match that Elias Lindholm trade, what would you think they would have to have done? And my honest reaction is it would have been their first round draft pick in 25, Jake DeBrusk, Fabian Lysell, and Mason Lohrei, which I'm not doing any of that. I'm not giving up that future draft capital. I'd love to see Jake DeBrusk re-signed. Lysell might be having a kind of down year in Providence, but he still has promise. And Lohrei, when he's come up to Boston, he's shown a heck of a lot of promise to be a top 4 defenseman, puck-moving defenseman in the next couple of years. They're assets that I just personally wouldn't move if I were Don Sweeney. And so I'm honestly glad that this didn't happen for them.
Just to interrupt you, New Jersey just went ahead with 2 minutes and 17 seconds left, 4-3. Noonan in net for Colorado. He has equally played well. Yes, I agree with you on the Bruins probably being smart, not trading. I think Lysell's a guy they could let walk. He'd probably already be in the league at this point, but you never know, man. Guys mature at different rates. I think sometimes I heard today Mike Fuda, former assistant GM of the LA Kings, talk about Cernak and how they were like telling him how to do a bunch of stuff, and he didn't speak English, so he didn't know, and they kind of moved him in kind of a huff because he took off and went home. And the guys won 2 Stanley Cups and have been a pivotal part of the Tampa Bay Lightning organization. So Tim, I think, is having a rough one in the chat, Rico. I think some of Tim's bets. I think Tim, our buddy Tim, who's in the Calgary area, and not to say I don't cater this show to Canadians, but they care about hockey more than anybody. So it's not. There are Boston Bruins fans that live in Canada. You're lucky because you live in the Northeast, and I don't think outside of Minnesota, Michigan, I don't think there's a more like hockey infatuated group of people. And I will tell you, I have a really good, my background, I was in the military for 25 years. One of my close friends, Patrick Francis Megan, shout out retired Sergeant Major Patrick Francis from Quincy, Massachusetts. He always told me, Boston is, when the Patriots were winning, he goes, Boston's a hockey town. hockey is what they give a shit about more than anything. Yeah, the Sox are the Sox. Yeah, the Pats are the Pats. Yeah, the Celtics are the Celtics. And all those teams have done insanely well in the last, Boston. It hasn't been a bad, when I was growing up, man, the Boston never won anything except for the Celtics. The Celtics were incredible in the 80s. I was around for a lot of that. So, but the Bruins last year was a monumental season, and they kind of just, withered in the playoffs. They set an NHL record and they lose in the first round to Florida. I'm sure that was heartbreaking for the Bruins fans. But you almost could see the writing on the wall. Like Monty he should have went to Sway early. I think a lot of us were saying, hey, Ullmark doesn't look right. And I definitely was advocating for Swayman because, I know people that know him here. It's not that big a city here. It's 300,000 people, basically. There's only about 6 in the whole entire state. So,
it's not even that they should have gone to Sway earlier. It's that they should have kept the rotation in general. The rotation going Swayman, Ullmark worked so well during the regular season. Why would you stop that momentum during the playoffs? I get it's a different kind of hockey and it's a different animal, but it just works.
Ullmark didn't look right, though, right?
No, he was definitely hurt.
Tell us a little bit about Big Bad.
He's a great goalie. He's got, it seems like a little bit of a back issue, a little bit of a hip issue. It came up in the game against Arizona a couple of weeks ago that he tweaked his back in overtime, and Swayman had to come in completely cold, give up a goal 50 seconds later, maybe even less than that. So it's for the benefit of both of these guys to keep rotating and keep themselves healthy. Yeah, no, I think that's the formula now too.
This is the concern with Colorado, which 7 seconds left, they have the empty net. They have been riding Georgiev, and obviously they didn't play him tonight because they played last night in New York and lost that game, by the way. And I'll tell you what, man, watching this game tonight, Rico, I want your opinion. Colorado looks like a one-line team to me. It's McKinnon, Makar, and Rantanen, and they got to figure it out, man.
I think that's why they kind of desperately brought in Zach Parise.
Yeah, but he had 21 goals last year. That was a no, 800,000 signing. That's a low road. Here we got our man Pearlo here. I'm gonna wait for him to pop up. Here he goes. Oh, Pearlo, hey, thanks for joining us. So this is Steve Duncan from PPalPicks.com. We call him Pearlo Wisdom. This is Jake Reiser from the Big Bad Bees pod. I was just about to ask Jake. By the way, Pearlo, I tweeted out the clip of you saying, Calgary quit. Taking Boston, which, by the way, Pearlo, I said we're all on Boston, so I wasn't destroying you. I was just saying we all get it wrong. Sometimes we're human. But anyway, we've hit some other ones. I've been DMing back with Singsy. Singsy, shout out Singsy, Dave Singer. I just got your text, Rico. I don't know. You're 10 minutes out.
Yeah,
no worries. Yeah. Just tell us a little bit about the Big Bad Bees pod. Obviously, you're under the Fans for Sports Network like I am. How did you come about that? Hey, that was Singsy's Holla goal.
Oh,
the baby goal.
I got the Holla goal too. I tailed him on the Holla goal.
Did we have that on our special bets post too?
We did. Oh, yeah. Kuzmenko, Lindholm, Holla, all the boys are rolling tonight.
Yes. All right. Yeah, I don't gamble, but so 5-3 final, they got the empty netter. Oh, my God, Singsy, that is awesome. Okay. Sorry, I got bark swallows here. Go ahead, Jake. I'll let you answer.
No, so we're a part of Stanley Cup of Chowder. It started with me and a couple of guys who I haven't talked to in a little bit. I wish them the best. I don't know where they are now. Colin Bestwick and Adam Denhard. We started this this was pre-pandemic, so this was 2019 that I think we started this. And the pandemic hit, and everything changed, and we took a pause for a while, and then everything with the parent network happened that who shall not be named. And, I just kind of took the onus of this is something that needs to keep going. I've had so much fun doing it. Even if I'm just doing like a 5-minute recap after every game, just like a great outlet to be able to talk Bruins hockey. You're right. The hockey community in Boston and the hockey community on social media is just so strong. And I'm so happy to be back in Boston. I lived in Miami for a couple of years, and so living out in what kind of feels like a hockey desert really gives me almost much more of an appreciation for living back up here again. And so,
Isn't it ironic
this
that
is
you
my
live
way to
in
get back
Miami
into
and then
everything.
their team eliminates your team after you leave there? That sucks.
I was still living. No, was I still living there? No, I was back up here by that time. That was definitely hard. I had a lot of friends who are down there who are like, haha, like pointing the finger at me, and I just put my head down. Just we'll get them at some point, but I'm happy to be back up in Boston and doing this, re-engaging with the sports community in this way, and I'm just having a great time. We're looking to grow. We're trying to reach out to a whole bunch of people and just grow the network as much as we can. Try and get more weekly shows, more people to contribute to recaps, and we're hoping for good things over the long haul going forward.
Yeah, that is exactly what I'm trying to do. And I started just as kind of a friend of a YouTube guy, and then was like, I can do this. So I retired from the military, and I was in school for cinematography, and realized I was going to be leaving home a lot, and was like, I don't want to be on the road all the time. And so I dropped out of school and started doing this. And so and my wife's been supportive. Of course, I get a pension. I'm a little bit blessed. She has a very good job. I have a very good life. I have no kids. I have 5 dogs. So it's like,
I feel that, man. This isn't my day job either. And so, it's a great way for me to feel connected to the community. I'll give a lot of shout outs to the people who do this for a living and go traveling to all these remote places, places where they're just not from in the least bit to pursue their passion. I'll give a shout out especially to my friend Chris Lynch, who is the play-by-play guy for they're in the North Iowa Bulls. I want to say I gotta look this up because he's gonna kill me if I get it wrong.
No, that's good, man. Shout it out.
He's from here. He's from New England originally, and so to go all the way out to Iowa and do what he's doing, I give him a heck of a lot of credit.
Iowa blows. That. Nobody lives in Iowa that wants to live in Iowa. Iowa sucks.
I got it. The North Iowa Bulls. That was right. And they're 9-29-0-2. So it's not a fun season for him, but I give him a lot of credit for going out there and pursuing his passion.
East Coast Hockey League, or what's the league they're in?
That's the North American Hockey League. So it's like a junior league that ends up getting recruited into college hockey generally.
Okay, so kind of like under the U.S. development type thing, but just with lesser players.
Exactly. They're the guys. Yeah, okay. They're like there's the EHL and the NAHL. They're all like 13, 14, 15, 16, and they're the guys who get recruited to go play in NCAA. I'm lucky to live in one of the biggest college hockey hotbeds in the country too. We just had the Beanpot semifinals yesterday.
I was watching it, buddy.
Just as much.
I was watching it, brother. I was watching it because one, I'm a Cap supporter. Ryan Leonard's on Boston College. Everybody, we talk. So this show, NHL Nightly, I go 4 nights a week, Monday through Thursday now, but Tuesday through Friday during football season, just because I like to have my football and stuff. Macklin Celebrini on BU, obviously the biggest hockey podcast in the U.S. and Canada came out of Boston with Ryan Whitney, Brian McGonigal, a.k.a. R.A., and Mikey Grinnell. All those guys are all Boston area guys. Except for
the guy
Biz.
that drove
Biz is the only Canadian on that pod.
Well, Biz is the one that drove it over the top too.
And then of course North. If you count Matt Merles, he's from upstate New York.
That's true, Rico. We do got to give credit to Biz for really pushing the pod, to where it is now. But you're right, Massachusetts, Boston, happy to be, back here again. Admittedly, sorry for Ryan Leonard and your kind of BC connection with your Caps following. I am a BU alumni. Go Terriers! So
dude, I have a Mike Ruzioni jersey hanging right next to me.
Surprisingly, I do too, actually.
I love BU. I didn't go to college, bro. I was in the military.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I did go to college. I didn't go to college out of high school. And if I did, I would have went to the University of Montana, where I'm originally from. So, and they didn't have a hockey team, and I care about 1AA football. That's why I don't give a crap. But no, I mean, I love college hockey, and now with ESPN Plus, it's so easy to watch NESN broadcast. I watched Billy Jaffe and those guys last night do the BU, and you know what? I was not surprised BU got BC because BC had beat them 3 times already. And you know, Colby Cohen, BU alumnus, from Morning Cup of Hockey. Shout out Daily Faceoff. Colby and Johnny Lazarus. Colby's a BU guy, and I had a bunch of questions. You know, I wasn't even sure if the Beanpot was single elimination. It is funny that the championship game is so far away. I'll tell you what, though, BU's on the warpath. If they don't win the Beanpot this year, I'll be really surprised because they lost to Northeastern this year too. I watched that game because I want to see Macklin, and I heard today Colby say he thinks he could be on the. Here's a guy who played in the NHL, so he thinks he could play center right now in the NHL. That's how good he thinks celebrating, which is amazing.
You know, what he's doing as a 17-year-old in college hockey is just wicked impressive. Like, just to see the amount of goals he's scoring, the way he's scoring goals. Last night, putting 2 in the net, one on the rush, just a sneaky wrister. And the other one, he set himself up on the power play. He gets the puck at the right dot, passes it back up to the point to Lane Hudson. I watched NESN's cover, so I watched Billy Jaffe do the diagnostic of it. By passing that puck up to Lane Hudson at the point, Lane Hudson is also another guy who's going to be a stud NHL defenseman. He's a Montreal Canadiens draft pick. But everyone focuses on Hudson. It gave Celebrini 18 feet of space between him and the nearest defender. You don't do that. And Celebrini just then whips a one-timer past Fowler to make it 2-0 BU. You know, I think BU got lucky that they got off to a big flying start because BC outshot them like 24-11 in the last 2 periods. But you know, credit to BU for hanging in there for as long as they did, and they've got just some phenomenal talent. And one other thing is goaltending.
Yeah, real quick, I wanted to ask you about
huge saves.
Just your assessment. Yeah, no, I mean, BU is an equally talented team. I think that if you top to bottom rank it, and I'm going to try to go to the Frozen Four this year. I went last year. We're just going to see because the tickets are much more expensive. It's actually financially easier for me to get to Minneapolis. But I wanted to add, since we're talking a little college hockey, your assessment of just outside of Celebrini, some of the other guys, that Wallander guy, he's a Vancouver draft pick. Some stuff like who out on that BU team are you really looking forward to seeing? And then a follow-up with BC and them. Do you think that some of those guys like Perot and Gauthier stay another year, especially if they don't win the Natty?
I think if Celebrini is the #1 overall draft pick and it ends up going to San Jose, I think you see Smith go and you see Smith and Celebrini on a line together under former BU head coach David Quinn. But, you know, to get your point of BU overall, I think almost every single one of their defensemen is drafted, which is impressive. You know, I go back to my days at BU, which weren't too very far away. My first year at BU was Jack Eichel's one-and-done year, but we had Charlie McAvoy, Clayton Keller, Jake Ottinger, Jordan
Those
Greenway.
guys turned out okay.
Yeah, those guys all turned out pretty well. But to look at the roster now beyond Macklin, Celebrini, and Lane Hudson, there are 3 sets of brothers on the team as well, which is just really funny that there are, you know, it's everything to them. It's great. You know, Quinn Hudson, I think, will get some good looks as a free agent somewhere. But then everybody on that defense, Case McCarthy, Ty Gallagher, Gavin McCarthy, you know, these guys who are just great shutdown defensemen. Willander is going to be a phenomenal defenseman. I would maybe put him in the Tyler Myers kind of build, but a little more consistent. You know, Tyler Myers just, you know, he fell off a cliff at some point, but, you know, he's got such a big body and such a good nose for being a two-way defenseman. Willander is phenomenal, and I'm excited to get a good look at him going forward. And, you know, the Beanpot final isn't far away. It's next Monday. The Beanpot is the first 2 Mondays of February, so we'll get right back on the horse next week at TD Garden. Everyone's celebrating it. We've got the late game. That's what we call it, but you know, up and down the roster, guys who, Ryan Green, who scored last night from Paradise, Nick Zabanet, he's a senior who doesn't get enough credit, who's just gritty and hard. Luke Tuck, who is Alex Tuck's younger brother, is a great guy to watch, scored a goal last night.
Yeah, he looks good. Is he undrafted?
I don't know if Luke Tuck's drafted.
I'll look that up.
But, it's, the funny thing is that the last time Boston College won the Beanpot, it was Alex scoring the overtime winning goal in 2016. It's been 8 years since the BC Eagles have won the Beanpot, which is crazy if you're a BC fan and great if you're not. But to me, it all stems back to the head coach. I was there for all of David Quinn's tenure as a Terrier head coach, and then they gave it to Albie O'Connell. And I mean no disrespect to Albie O'Connell, because he learned, again, you learn under the best, and David Quinn came within a period of winning a national championship. But what Jay Pandolfo, I get whatever he learned as being an NHL guy, whatever he learned as a Bruins assistant coach under Cassidy, he's brought a level of professionalism back to the program that even when they're, down on their luck, one of my guys in SB Nation put it a great way yesterday. They can play a team like Merrimack, who I guess the NHL equivalent of Merrimack is like the Arizona Coyotes. They're a team that you don't expect to win, but are feisty. You could play Merrimack and barely eke out with a win. I think they actually lost to Merrimack earlier this year as well. Or they just come out and dominate like nobody's business. But they go about the game with an absolute professionalism that I don't think that comes if Jay Pandolfo isn't your head coach.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 1,000,000%. You could tell he's turned that program around. So BU was in the Final Four last year, and I actually thought they lost to Minnesota, correct?
Yes, they did lose to Minnesota.
So I was at that game.
Minnesota or Duluth? I don't remember which one.
I inadvertently told Minnesota's head coach at a restaurant, didn't know it was him. I thought they got lucky against BU. So that was a fun story. But yeah, and Rusionia was apparently there, and I was so bummed out I didn't see him, because I will cry. That man is the shit. He is one of my heroes. I love BU. I love watching these games, especially if they're like yesterday. There was a couple of games on, but like I had those on, but I was like, oh, I'm usually watching 4 or 5 games at once. So I really wanted to see that BCBU game. I mean, that's must see. Those could be in the Final Four in the Frozen Four. So yeah, no, I really appreciate your assessment on BU. Doesn't hurt. You're an alumnus. And I'm meeting a bunch of awesome BU alums. So we talked a little bit about the Bruins, and maybe they're not adding, and you see where they're going. And then I want Steve or Rico to ask you some questions. Do you think they do add to their lineup, or do you think they're just going to have to let it ride? I mean, I feel like on defense and goaltending, they need nothing. Do they move off from Olmark and bring up an AHL guy? And because Swayman, they got to re-sign, right? So are they going to try to keep both goalies? Like
I think they're going to keep both goalies until the contracts expire. The guys love each other. Beyond the goalie hugs, they're just a great tandem in and of itself. And I want to comment on something that Tim York has said in the comments that I think flashed up a little bit about, I think it's the model of the NHL now that you have to have a 1A and a 1B goaltender. And you're right, Tim. That's why Colorado is in such a bind. It's been really hard having Pavel Francouz injured for so long. He was such a great 1B behind Georgiev and then Darcy Kemper before him.
The Caps can take Kemper back.
From such a hole. And I think that's the same hole the Bruins would find themselves in. Not that I don't like the Bruins goaltending prospects. They've got great ones. Brandon Bussey, Michael DiPietro, Rich Dick, I think, is the other guy as well. But, I think they stick with those guys. And if you're going to add anywhere, it's just for depth. Like the more similar to like the Garnet Hathaway deal they made last year. It's something to bring in grit and bottom six scoring. I still think they could stand to fix their bottom pairing defensemen. They're still rotating that around a lot. Shattenkirk can be really on and off, and tonight clearly he was off as much as he can be a great power play merchant at times. Derek Forbert's been injured most of the season, so he's still trying to find his footing. Parker Wotherspoon, I'll give him a lot of credit. Jim Montgomery's given him ice time over the last couple of months, and he's really taken advantage of it, and he's been such a consistent defenseman. But that's where the Bruins are going to add us. It's really just going to be depth, and that's about it.
Yeah, Rico says Colorado's one injury away, a lot of positions. Yeah, I agree. What about Jake Allen or Fleury? Yeah. But Boston, just to stay on the Boston thing, so you don't think Boston adds anything up front or anything? You don't think, because I thought Lindholm would be and now look, they could go out and get him in free agency, especially because Vancouver probably not going to be able to afford to keep him because they got to re-sign Pettersson. So we'll see.
That's the move. Elliot Friedman already said if Lindholm hits free agency, the Bruins are going to be one of those teams that will be in on him.
Yeah, I mean, they got Hampus, right? Why not allow Elias? The fact that he had 2 goals against his former team tonight in the Carolina Hurricanes, we forget he played there first. Yeah. So I want to open it up. Steve, I'm picking up some audio from your background, so I just had to mute you, but it's no problem. I'll unmute you. Just mute yourself, and then when you're ready to ask a question, unmute and then mute yourself again. We're picking up some background. It's not a big deal, but it's just better to mute. It just cleans up the audio. I really appreciate it. So you're unmuted. Just mute. I'm not picking up right this second, but it was from something, your TV or something. No big deal, because this is a big game for Steve in Edmonton. And Edmonton Tim, thanks for letting us know. Tim, let us know. Edmonton's been up 1-0 since really early in the game. It's still 1-0. There's about 6 minutes left to go in the first period. Remember, this ties the Penguins from 93, which won nothing. So they lost in the playoffs to the New York Islanders last. So I always say these teams that break records, the Patriots, they lost to my New York Giants. Were they probably the better team? Well, they lost when it mattered, and so that's.
Well, I mean, Eli Manning beat Brady twice, didn't he?
Yeah, he beat him twice. Yeah, but in reality, Eli beat the Patriots defense twice, and not Brady. And the Giants defense beat Brady,
and probably one of the best catches in Super Bowl history.
I'll tell you what, everybody.
What was his name again? Behind his head.
That's a good one, the helmet catch. But the Mario Manningham one from Jake. I'm sorry, I've given you so much. You're down to be a Pats fan, right? I'm sure you're a Pats fan. Yeah. It's not been a couple. Hey, by the way, though, Jake, I know the last couple of years for New England fans have not been great in the football realm, but you had a good run there. It's never going to be duplicated. And the other thing I'll say is the Giants haven't been good forever. So, yeah, you're good, Steve. You can unmute yourself. I'm not hearing anything.
Rico, you're talking about David Tyree.
Yeah, Tyree. Yeah. And I'm a Bills fan, so, hey, man, we all feel the pain everywhere.
We need some AFC East dominance for a little bit, too. So, I get it. I'm excited for the rebuild. I'm excited for Gerard Mayo. And, if we get a new quarterback, we'll see what happens, whether it, Drake May slides down to us, or we pick up Jalen Daniels, Michael Penix. I have no idea what direction they're going in, but I'm excited to see where it happens. I think it was finally time. We should have a special hockey draft show and bring on all our football-y people or something when the NFL draft, because we'll still be in the midst of the playoff, or right at the end of the season here. So, so Boston wins the Atlantic again, probably, right? And they're going to match up. Who do you think they're going to play in the playoffs? And then you guys ask questions if you want.
Well, I mean, it could be Tampa, it could be Florida. Well, Boston's going to win the division, so they'll play.
Detroit. It could be Toronto. It could be Tampa.
What about a Toronto-Boston first round? Ooh, I'd be so down.
I think Toronto fans would off themselves if that happened to them again.
But you know what, though? I think this Toronto team would actually give you guys some trouble, even though they've got some questions on defense. I think your goaltending is going to sort itself out. Samsonov was not the reason they lost last night. In fact, he played really well. He's kind of found his game again. And I'm really glad to see it, honestly, because I was rooting for the kid. But
and whenever Joseph Wall comes back healthy, too, because Wall was basically keeping them alive the first 10 games of the season.
Yeah, I mean, he was on that 2018 World Juniors for the U.S. with Ottinger and who's the other guy?
He's also a Boston College alum.
Who?
Joe Wall.
Yeah, and he's also from St. Louis. So I love it. I love seeing guys from those parts of the country. It shows that the hockey growth has gotten so big here in the U.S. Yeah, so if I was looking at the playoffs right now, you guys would probably play.
It would be Detroit as that they're tied with points for the Red Wings, but more games. So
yeah, the Red Wings have 2 more games played than the Leafs. So
that's a hard one because Alex Lyon gave the Bruins fits during that playoff series against the Panthers last year.
Yeah. No, Alex Lyon played well. And then, the fact that, they basically had a 2-goalie system there too, right?
True, between Lyon and Bobrovsky.
Yeah, and they have a $10 million backup until the playoffs, and then he played great. Pearlo, do you have any questions for Jake or Rico? Do you guys want to ask him some Bruin stuff? I know we just did Singsy yesterday, and he's a Devils guy. So, and if you know anybody, John Duncan from Off the Wall Hockey is a friend of mine. He's a diehard Bruins fan. In fact, I sent him a number 27 alternate Bruins jersey this year, the Centennial one, just because that's his favorite number. He's from southeastern Mass, so he's about an hour away from Boston. Great kid. Check out his channel, Off the Wall Hockey. He's not associated with Fans First, but he has a career outside too. But he's an excellent play-by-play guy, man. Like I told him, I said, dude, I don't know what you went to college for, and he's working in a different field now, but you should be broadcasting. And he loves the game. I mean, he just loves hockey. He talks about all the games he does. He's doing a couple streams this week, I believe Thursday and Saturday. So check out Off the Wall Hockey. I know Pearlo knows him really well too. And he's been on this show. So he's kind of my go-to guy for Bruins. But when you stepped up, because I just wanted to try to get everybody from Fans First on, because I'm supposed to be writing for them on the website too. It's just we've gotten over 100 inches of snow, so I've been dealing with that. And then I've got my car needs to go in. It's like it's wintertime in Alaska. It was minus like 15 all last week. Now we're back to like normal 20-degree weather. So I've just been behind on reaching out to all the Fans First people on Slack and stuff. And so I really appreciate you just stepping up because there's an Islanders guy that came on, but we just had Kim on from Kim in the Crease. If you don't know, Isles Girl 3, she's a friend of mine, just great gal. She's a nurse now too, but she goes to a ton of Isles games. Pearlo, I'd never met her. Rico never met her. And anyway, I just want to try to grow NHL Nightly and get, maybe make it a thing where you come on and talk Bruins once a month or something, and just and if you ever want a guest, you got the 3 of us to kind of choose from if you want. Rico is a pretty good Leafs fan, knows his hockey, played high level. You played like Division 2, didn't you, Rico? Or you played Junior B? Oh, you're muted, Rico.
So Junior B in Canada I played, but because I grew up north of Superior and I was the junior league up there.
Yeah, he's a Thunder Bay guy. So he, where all the Stahl brothers and stuff are from. Yeah. And Steve actually was from Ontario, but a lot of people in the US, they migrate west, and Canada's no difference. So he lives in Alberta, and we like to joke he takes dead bodies off of trucks for a living, but that's not what he does. But he is damn good handicapper, and he's an unbelievable hockey mind. And we don't agree on everything, but that's what makes the show fun. But he's out there with his picks and stuff, and you're up over 100 units this year, right, Pearlo? Yeah. He's doing. He's good, man. And and then we just had Dave Singer from Chicklets Game Notes fame, Singsy, as he's known in the internet community, on yesterday. Shout out Singsy, his Devils got the win. I'm happy for him, and he hit that Holla, which was great. Holla just had a kid, so. Anyway, that's awesome. Andrew played road hockey and floor hockey in the Special Olympics in Oakville. That's really
Andrew,
cool.
that's your question. You asked if I'm happy the Islanders got Waugh. I think it's good for them that they need some structure. I don't know if it'll be good for them in the long term, but they sure as hell need him in the short term to, kick themselves in the ass a little bit.
Yeah, I love that hiring. We had Kim, of course, we had Kim on, like I was saying. She was really stoked and they needed a change. I just think, and it's look, Lane Lambert was an assistant coach with the Caps when they won the Cup in 2018. I think he's a great coach. I hope he gets on another staff. Some guys are cut out to be awesome assistants, and some guys are cut out to be head coaches. And I just wondered, it just felt kind of icky to me because Trotz left on kind of weird circumstances. And I don't know. Lou never lets anything out. We'll never know. I mean, unless he writes a book before he dies, we'll never know all these crazy stories. So, well, go ahead, guys. Ask Jake. I know I've said it a couple of times. I've thrown it. This is going to be a shorter episode tonight. We're not going to stay the 2 hours we did last night, but we got a great. I would like to curl up with a nice glass of water and watch the rest of this Oilers Vegas game for sure.
Vegas just scored apparently.
Yeah, they did. They just scored 1-1. Let's go. Let's go, Golden Knights. Let's go. I love that it's a great hockey town. You go to a Golden Knights game. The fans are awesome. They know their hockey. They're devoted. They won Sammy McKee over. And I love it raw. Dude, the Vegas is missing like 3 of their best 5 players. So, like, if Edmonton wins this game, they should. But if Vegas wins it, I like it even more. So, but hey, I don't want to take anything away from Edmonton. Edmonton has played really good defense. I think they've allowed 2 goals. I mean, they've played some lousy teams, but like you still have to keep the puck out of your net and stuff. So, pretty awesome. You got to give them credit. If they tie or beat the record, they still do it. I just, I'm superstitious about that stuff. Like, the last team that did it, they didn't win the cup. So, and I'm telling you, the West is a meat grinder. Dallas is tough. Vancouver was a road dog tonight, and I think they handled Carolina. Rico, did you get to watch any of that game, Jake? I know you're probably pretty tuned into Flames beating up on your bees, but I thought Vancouver with Lindholm just had like no time, no practice, nothing. And he gets 2 goals, net front presence, and the shots were not close. And Carolina has the second best record in the last since whenever as Edmonton. And of course Vancouver's the 5th. But anyway.
Credit to Rick Tocchet, and Jim Rutherford out there. I forget he's the GM out there now, but
he's the president of hockey ops for Vancouver, Patrick Alving.
Thank you. Yeah. Look, credit to all those guys for building a good team. And, I think everyone felt weird after Boudreau left in the way that things happened in Vancouver. But, credit to those guys for sticking around. And I think Tocchet's righted the ship really well, and good on management for rewarding him with a good player in Lindholm. And Lindholm is such an elite player. I feel like he could have slotted in with any team wherever he got traded. But that's a phenomenal core that they got over there with Lindholm, Besser, Pettersson, Hughes, Demko. Like, that's a really strong core.
Dude, they are, and I hope they keep it together. I'm rooting for them. Canuck Clay, shout out. There's some good Vancouver fans. There's some not so nice ones too, but I'm sure you got that experience as a Bees fan. I don't know how active you were on the internet in 2011 when the Bruins were in the Cup, but I was definitely rooting for Boston and for that one. In hindsight, being 2020, like Ryan Kessler is one of the best American 2-way forwards ever, and I would have liked to seen him win a Stanley Cup with that team, and I think he would be immortalized in that town if it had happened. So part of me is a little heartbroken that didn't get to happen for him, but I was also really happy for, Tim Thomas and, the Bruins. That was honestly, I don't know that I've seen a better final since. That was such a great final.
Immensely entertaining all the way around, the OT goals, how close every single game was in Vancouver. Yeah. And then it was the Nathan Horton hit.
Boston St. Louis 2019 was really good too.
I mean, look, they had a great team back then. I still love my Merlot line. Sean Thornton, Danny Paille, Gregory Campbell. Like, I love those guys.
Yeah. Merlot line. Yeah. And then didn't Campbell go to Edmonton? And who went to Edmonton was the captain for a while there off that Boston team? Pearlo.
Oh, was that Andrew Ferentz?
Yeah, Ferentz.
Yeah, Ferentz was for a bit. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was a captain for a minute there, wasn't he?
Yeah, for a little bit. I think it was a year or two. He was injured like right away, but I think they did.
That sounds about right. We got the most out of him though. He's a good dude all the way around. He worked with the NHL on a lot of their eco-friendly measures now. So
yeah.
Big ups to him.
Yeah. No, he's a cool guy, man. I would like to get. That's a guy we should try to get on the pod. I don't know what you guys are thinking. Yeah. So Rico. Pearlo, we did talk about Calgary and Boston a little bit. Do you guys have any specific Boston questions for Jake? I don't want to keep them all night. But
not a ton because I'm a Leaf fan, so I don't want to pump Boston's tires at all. But no, if I could think of one, just an observation I did is a couple weeks ago, I was spending 4 nights in Ottawa and I saw that Boston was in town. So I'm like, you know what? I'll go to a game. I've never seen the Bruins play in person, even living in Toronto and going to games here in the same division stuff. I've never seen the Bruins live. So I checked them out and it was a good game. The only shit thing about that game, if you remember it, is Ottawa got a ton of penalties. Like it was just unbelievable how many power plays they got that game. So it's kind of foolish that way. But one thing I noticed about Boston, just a few smooth skaters on that team, like Charlie Coyle, even that Boquist guy, he's so smooth on his skates, great at face-offs. I mean, Zach had some good style up there. Boston, just huge defense too. Forward was in the lineup with Carlo, McAvoy. Like, nobody was going to the net for the Senators in that game. It was just like the Bruins are heavy, but they almost felt like they were like the St. Louis Cardinals of the MLB, the Cardinal way. It's like the Boston way. It's like they're just quiet on their bench, not on each other, just business, not getting pushed around on the ice. Just it was such a good team to see, strong up the middle, like Zaka at the face-off circle and Marchand and Geeky. I mean, I think Boquist played in that game. So, I mean, they were good up the middle. I don't know how a ton of people are saying they need a center, but I think overall, just a good-looking team on the ice. I was happy I got to see him play. And, Swayman just calm, cool, collective, and in his own net, making some wicked saves. So, it's just a fun team to watch. Just good depth on that team and well played, like good team concept there. So,
for the future, they need a number 1 overall center. It's not necessarily an immediate need, but if you look at their
you think Poitras can fill that bill? Do you think he?
Where's he been though? What's he been doing lately? He's been out.
He was on the World Juniors.
Yeah, I know, but he hasn't been playing lately.
I thought he got banged up, or did they send him down?
No,
he was banged up. I don't know if he's sitting down now.
I thought maybe they sent him to the AHL.
He's been struggling since the World Juniors. I know that.
He didn't really do much in the World Juniors either, but I still think he's going to be a good player.
Patra's still hurt. Patra has a shoulder injury. He should be back
that's
in the
what
mix
it is.
soon.
He's banged up. Okay.
Again, I'm happy that Patra has developed, but I also don't want to put a ton of pressure on him. He's 19.
And he wasn't a top 5 pick or anything,
He was a 2nd-round pick, and of course, when he came up and started to light it up, everyone said, "Oh, great, another 2nd-round pick out of Canada that the Bruins are going to develop into a natural number 1 center." The last one being Patrice Bergeron. So,
my God,
Patra has a lot of potential, but I still think that they need someone either next year or the year after that to let Matty develop more. They need someone who's going to take the number 1 role. Patra slides in as the number 2. Coyle maybe slides down as the number 3 at that time, or Zaka, but slides to the wing. Yes, I optimally see Patra as a number 1 center someday, but it's not happening for a couple of years. And so they need someone. Ostensibly, I like an ISM in the offseason would be great. Shield Patra's development. You push everybody down. Now Patra gets some development as your number 3C, and Coyle takes over as the number 2C, or you keep Zaka as the number 2C, and Coyle slides to the wing. There are so many permutations if they can just get a number 1 center. I don't think they've got the capital to do it via trade, and they shouldn't do it via trade. But if they can in free agency, I think it just helps them going forward.
So let me throw a name out there at you. And I've heard this as a possibility, and it's been brought up in our chat. What about a Leon Draisaitl?
Draisaitl would be a ton of fun. But again, at what cost?
Well, he may not re-sign with Edmonton.
But at what cap cost? The Bruins they've re-signed McAvoy. They have to re-sign Swayman.
I thought McAvoy was already locked up long term.
Yeah, the McAvoy's locked up long term, but it's a humongous contract. Same with Pasternak. They still have to find room for Swayman.
But the cap's going
if
up.
They want to re-sign DeBrusk. If they want to re-sign Trent Frederick to a long-term deal.
They want to re-sign DeBrusk.
What about DeBrusk and Allmark going the other way?
If it's for a guy like Draisaitl, maybe you do it.
You're not seeing that done this year, though. Either let's see if Edmonton volleys out of the playoffs unexpectedly early, if they don't get to the conference finals, in my opinion, there's going to be some changes there because I think they have zero cap space for next year, so they're not going to be able to add shit. So and they got to re-sign Bouchard too here after next season. And I think he's going to make 10 million plus. If he's on pace for 81 points this year.
$500,000 of cap space, the Oilers. That's obscene. I mean, the Bruins have less. As much as that, the Bruins have $60,000 of cap space.
Yeah, no, you guys are in it. You're in it bad.
We have Pasternak at 11.25, Marchand at 6.125 for another 2 years, Coyle at 5.25, Zacha at 4.75.
You think Marchand plays 6 more years though? He just strikes me as a guy that's going to play as long as he wants.
Oh, Marchand, absolutely.
Yeah, he's not been hurt that much, and he's so fit, it's ridiculous. I mean, he outworks guys half his age sometimes. It's just the guy's so good, it's ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Pearlo, did you have any questions for Jake?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's sort of a statement and a question at the same time. I think when it comes to the Bruins, people don't really pay attention to this because their top 4 is really good. But down the road, and probably even next year, I don't like what I see on defense for them. I don't know, Lore, Ian Mitchell, Renouf, they really are hurting when it comes to prospects and players ready to play. I think they're actually going to be looking more towards defense depth than a lot of people are looking for that center this year. But Charlie Coyle has been putting up some pretty good points. Zach has been doing not bad, pretty good. And they got Morgan Geekie there as well. Maybe they get some depth, but I'm more concerned about their defense. So I guess my question is, do you agree with me that in the future, their defense is looking a little wonky?
The only thing I'll disagree with you a little bit on is Mason Lowry. His development and his ceiling is obscenely high. And, sometimes when he was up, he's had a couple of stints up already. He did look like a little bit of a giraffe, but, his just absolute cunning sense of being a two-way defenseman. And that's the model of the NHL right now is you have two-way, very heavy offensive defensemen. This guy's got moves like you can't believe. And I think the difference between a guy like him and a guy like Matt Grizz, I love Grizz, but he's got a couple of inches and a lot of pounds on Grizz. Grizz is 5'10", 5'11", and Lowry, I think, is either 6'3" or 6'4". And so if you're going to be a smooth skater and a big shooter, you need to have the frame to be able to back it up and stop guys. So I'm excited about Lowry's development, but you're right otherwise that I don't know what they do with their back-end defensemen for the future. It's great. They've got a core locked up. Charlie McAvoy's locked up for the foreseeable future. Hampus Lindholm is locked up for the foreseeable future. Brandon Carlo's locked up until 27, 28.
And Carlo's gotten over his injury stuff, and he's been healthy the last 2 years. And I'm glad to see it, man.
And he's turned into a phenomenal shutdown defenseman. And when he's healthy, he's fantastic. But you're right, behind them, I don't know what they do. And I'm sure that there's a great crop of free agent defensemen that they're going to have to figure out. Forbert was an interesting signing when it happened. He's been very injured this season. And then they had to make do with the cap space that they had. They signed Shattenkirk for a little over $1 million.
He's played well.
With the cap space.
He's played well for them, right? Can you talk a little bit about? I mean, I've been really impressed what I've seen from Shattenkirk. I know he's not skating 35 minutes a night or anything, but what are your thoughts? I mean, I thought he's played really well for them.
At times, yes, he can be very inconsistent. He's a great driver on the second power play unit.
That's his career.
But it's
in a
so hard to
nutshell.
watch like a non-defenseman play back there because sometimes he just lets the stupidest things go through that you're like, man, I wish someone was back
That's
there.
his
And
game.
that's why the last month or so we've seen a rotation between him and Parker Wotherspoon, who again I gave credit to a little earlier. Wotherspoon has stepped up and become a great back end defenseman for them, but he's only signed through this year too. So Pearlo, you're not wrong that there's a lot of questions on the back end going forward, whether Grizzlick is worth re-signing, whether Lowry is ready for a full-time NHL spot, you know, what depth they have back there. There are definitely a lot of question marks back there.
So where do you go ahead, Rico? Did you have a question for him? No, you did. You asked him.
Yeah, no, I did. I mean, I think, you know, they got some good quality back there. I mean, McAvoy's a good number one, and that's basically where you start right there. I mean, Toronto's never had a number one for years. I mean, Riley's been teetering on that fence of being a number one, but if you're thinking in that the World Nations or whatever they're calling the tournament next year, you think Riley makes Team Canada's team? It could be him, could be Shea Theodore, you know, like it's just like the Mitch Marner talk too. Like, what have you done in the playoffs when it counts? Like, I mean, McAvoy's going to be there for the US. It'll probably be on the top pair on the right side.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If it's not him, it's Adam Fox. But the fact that it's just a debate between those two as the top two right-handed defense.
If it's me, I'd rather have McAvoy, and Fox I'd play on the power play.
Man,
Charlie
McAvoy's
intelligent player. You can't afford not to play him.
Scary.
Can you imagine Quinn Hughes, Luke Hughes, Adam Fox? I'm so excited for I saw the Canadians team that Justin Bourne put together with the McKinnon Point.
Barzal
line. Like, that's going to be tough to stop with that speed. That they're literally the fastest guys in the league per ice. Like, I guess McKinnon has the fastest like on ice burst or whatever, and obviously Point is like the second fastest guy in the NHL, and then you throw Barzal who has won the fastest skater, and he lost to McDavid by not much in this last one here too. So
Tim, I see your comment about the Bruins if they have another goalie in the pipeline that would allow them to trade Allmark. In my head, yes, it's Brandon Bussey. In my heart, no, because I love the goalie hogs too much.
Yeah, but you know what, man? There comes a time, and I'll say this. I haven't been a big fan of Don Sweeney's drafts, but I feel like he's done really well, like just adding really decent talent. Like Lindholm was a great trade, man, and then they don't waste it they re-sign him, you know, like Rico being a Leaf fan, I think some of the, you know, like the biggest complaint is you trade for these guys. Now, I know they tried to re-sign O'Reilly, which, boy, he would be helpful for them. I mean, I just feel like it'd be the world of difference for them right now. But O'Reilly, I think, too, probably just didn't want that scrutiny in Toronto. I think a guy being from there, you understand what it gets, and I think some guys are born to play. That's what I say. I say a lot of the American kids, you know, I know the pandemic really threw it in, but I think a lot of American kids, unless you grow up in your area, that play hockey, they're the second, third, fourth, fifth most popular sport in their high school. So nobody ever pays them no mind. You go to Canada and you're like, I get all the adulation I've been wanting my whole life. You know, or you know, Boston, Philly, they're Pittsburgh. There are really good hockey towns that aren't, you know, where the fans will hold you accountable, but it's not the same as it is in the Canadian markets. I mean, Edmonton's a meat grinder, Vancouver's a meat grinder, Toronto's a meat grinder. You know,
Vancouver
really
doesn't have a Canadian forward on their team.
Yeah, and they're winning. You know, that shows you the depth of the world, though, too. Like, their best player is, you know, Finnish, really. So,
you know, speaking of guys that I wish the teams re-signed, you know, look at what the Bruins could have gotten if they had re-signed Tyler Bertuzzi. I'm looking at you, Rico, and the Leafs and what Bertuzzi's doing there.
I feel like Bert would have
been a great Bruin.
You don't think I think he's been really bad for the Leafs, honestly.
He was so good in the playoffs to the Bruins. Would he have like 6 goals in that series against Florida? And he's got one in his last 24 in Toronto right now.
Yeah, he has 1 goal in 24 games, Jake, with Toronto right now.
Jeez. Well, so I was
making $5 million.
Yeah, he ain't making. I don't think he's going to equal that if his season stays this way. No. I think he's costing himself money.
No.
There were rumors, or I guess little chirps that like he wishes he was still in Boston. I was at Bees Leafs on November 2nd when Timothy Liljegren got hurt in the corner, and they show the bench and the Leafs just have no response to it, and Ryan Reeves is trying to chirp Marshy, and you just see Bertuzzi sitting in the corner of the bench. He's smiling and shaking his head like, "Oh, Marshy, like just you're my pal." This is just so funny to watch. Like. I can imagine what the Bruins would have been like if they kept Bertuzzi or if they kept Dmitry Orlov, and I feel like Pearlo that would have answered a lot of questions going forward if they kept Orlov as a left-sided defenseman for the future. They definitely couldn't have afforded him for what Carolina signed him for.
Yeah, but
you might be able to get Orlov in the offseason for dirt cheap because
and Bertuzzi maybe like a 5 times $3 million a year. And like, look at these players that went to Boston, like Bertuzzi and Orlov. They were calling them Bobby Orlov in Boston. This guy was amazing as a Bruin.
But I'll tell you what, though, is that a test? I think Orlov won a Cup of the Caps. He played great. I mean, he has his moments. He kind of always left me wanting more, but I always felt like he has a really high ceiling, and we may have not seen the best of his game. But I'll say this, though, like, he got to play with McAvoy, right? Like, look what's happening with Quinn Hughes this year and Hronek and stuff. Like sometimes you just need the pairs mean something. I mean, I heard Louis DeBrusk say today on Kipper's show that he doesn't think that Edmonton will trade for a defenseman because the guys love playing with each other right now the way they got it, and they're playing good hockey, man. And why change? I mean, like, I know they added Corey Perry for nothing, but like, why change? Like, if I'm Ken Holland, man, I don't know that I'd do anything. Why?
I would improve on CC if I could.
Right, but why just leave him? He's fine. He's a third.
It's not.
See you, Tim. Thanks for coming in. No, I mean, he's fine, man. Like, he's your bottom pair guy, right? I don't think.
I think he's playing with Nurse still. He's playing with Nurse.
Oh, I thought he was bottom pair. Okay.
He's playing with Nurse. Yeah. You got to improve on that. I mean, you don't have to improve on that, but if you can, I would improve on that if I was Edmonton.
Well, it'll be interesting to see they gotta have no cap space either. Well, it'll be interesting to see what Boston does in the years to come. I think they're going to do better this year in the playoffs for certain. I really appreciate you coming out, Jake. We're going to just preview tomorrow's 3 games. You're welcome to hang out, but I know it's late there on the East Coast. You probably have a job and have to get to it. So I won't keep you if you don't want to hang out for our picks. But I really appreciate you coming on and reaching out, man. And let's do this again. And good luck with the Big Bad Bees pod with SB Nation /Fans First Sports Network. I really hope that works out for you, man. I know there's I think honestly what I've found is just sticking with it. Just stick with it. Just keep grinding, man. And next thing you know, you might be doing this for real, talking to Bruins legends and just really, Boston guys, Bill Burr and always think of who's the guy.
Bill Burr.
Yeah, Bill Burr's a Boston guy. Anyway,
he goes on a Red Sox broadcast every year, and I think every year except this year they won for him. So
I love Bill. He's a great sports fan, and he's hilarious. I was thinking of Dennis Leary too. Bill Simmons, all those guys. So.
Much appreciated. I hope the same growth for you guys as well. It looks like you run a tight ship here and a good show. So I hope we can, kind of see each other mutually grow. Just stick with it, do the right things, and good luck with everything going forward.
Yeah, I won't be happy till I have at least as many followers as Heat Daddy. He's at like 250,000. Then I'll feel like I can do. If that fucking chucklehead can do it, I can do it. So, yeah, I really appreciate you, man. Like I said, you're welcome to hang out. Let's talk betting. If you got to go, you could just let me know.
I got a dip for a day job.
Yeah, you're good, man. Thank you so much for coming out, Jake, and we'll talk again soon, man. Everybody check
Absolutely.
out I'll put Jake's links to his Twitter account in there and check out the Big Bad Bees pod if you're listening to this on the podcast. Leave a like, subscribe, comment, helps us out.
Absolutely.
Subscribe to the pod on Apple or Spotify, FFSN NHL Nightly. Right now, we're Monday through Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern. Thanks again to Jake Reiser from Big Bad Bees Pod. We'll hang out, play the outro, but we'll do our picks. So hang out. See you, Jake. That was great to have him. Okay. Yeah, he reached out, and that was cool, man. I was like, yeah, come on, man. I reached out to a bunch of people on Slack through our thing and said, hey, if anybody, there's like 4 or 5 other teams that have podcasts. I'd love to have you guys on and plug your stuff. So that guy was cool. He started somewhere else, and they had some stuff. So, yeah, I wonder if Edmonton doesn't win the cup this year, do they look to move somebody big like a Draisaitl or something and change it up? But they're playing great Team D, man, and I give a lot of credit to that Knobloch. He's done really well. I did have a stat for you guys.
Draisaitl for
Colorado Avalanche defense have scored 41 goals this year. They're on pace for the most since.
He'll just had an amazing save. My God.
Yeah, I just saw it. Highway robbery, bro. Is him in the Edmonton Oilers kitchen? He's back, and he's like, oh, who did he save this on? Corey Perry?
He caught it. He hit his glove.
Yeah, but Pearlo, you need the under here.
Oh, anyway, my God. Was that Ekholm?
Yeah, I do need the under.
No, McLeod. That was McLeod.
I need the under here.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to hit the under. By the way, Singsy was saying we were doing really good on the unders. Okay, let's pick games tomorrow. Let's go. I'm not going to pick. Lightning at Rangers. Lightning are a plus 114 road dog. What do you guys like?
New York Rangers. They've got a game in already since the break. This is Tampa's first game.
Yeah, I'm on that too. Yeah.
Okay, I like a Kucherov goal scoring prop though. He's gonna come out playing.
Probably.
Maple Leafs at Stars. Stars are a road dog. I like the Stars at road dog plus 114. I do not know how the Maple Leafs are favored in this game at all. The over under in that is 6.5. I like the under actually.
Yeah.
I like the over 7 goals. I think
Dallas played in Buffalo tonight
and won easily. I'm not worried.
2-1, not easily. 2-1. Toronto tomorrow night.
You think Toronto's winning?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Pearlo.
I like to draw.
Okay.
It's gonna be tight.
Nice. We got everybody. I'm on the Stars. You're on the draw. Rico's on the Leafs. Love it. Rupe Hantz goal scoring prop. Let's see what it is. Wild at Blackhawks last game of the night. Blackhawks are a plus 185 home dog. I mean, I'm not going to watch this game at all. I do not care. Both teams are awful.
No, I mean, it's Minnesota or nothing. I mean, Bedard's still out. Colin Murphy or whatever else his name is, he's out. Blackhawks can't score. I mean,
Colin Murphy out.
Yeah, I do not give a shit.
Take it right now. Don't wait till the morning. Minnesota minus 1.5. They're going to ruin Chicago. It's not even.
It's going to be They should, and they are, by the way, minus 225. So Vegas is thinking that they're going to ruin them too. Okay,
puck line is plus 120 right now. By morning time, it probably won't even be close to that.
That must be a TNT or ESPN game or something because there's 7 o'clocks and that's the 9:30.
The Lightning Rangers is a TNT game, and the Wild Blackhawks is a TNT game. So
all these Hawks games they signed up for this year, eh?
Yeah, because of Bedard, man. But dude, Rico, Chicago is the number 3 media market in the U.S. So their fans live all over the country. So the Blackhawks are a big name, man. And they, as bad as they are now, I mean, they just won 3 cups. Like their fan base. If you're Clayton Keller, is from that area. If you're a 9-year-old kid, you've seen him win like a couple of Stanley Cups. I mean, you were a baby, but you've seen him. It's not been that long. You know, if you're in high school, they're awesome. So, oh, that's awesome, Andrew, going to see the Everglades. Cool, man. That's cool. And congratulations on the hockey, man. Congratulations. That's the show, guys. I'm gonna play the outro, and we're out. Thank you so much.
Crosby and Gensel for Draisaitl. Do it.
Oh man. Whew. Do you do it?